What is up, CSGs? I hate to even come and record this video on this after this debacle, this loss that we just suffered at the hands of the Minnesota Timberwolves, a game which, by all accounts, was supposed to be just a glorious win, beating an opponent that we've struggled against over the years. Again, we beat them overtime in Minnesota, but yet up 16, found a way to fumble the game, losing 113 to 112. This was supposed to be a video that was going to be fun. I was going to do the 30 game, sample, but I can't do a 30 game sample size and look at the lineups coming off of that loss. This was a devastating loss. I'm not going to lie. I'm not even going to hold you. This was a devastating loss. The manner in which we lost, I don't know. It's similar to the Charlotte. I think that was might have been with the first game that we played against Charlotte, or second game, that loss where we just blew a big lead in the fourth quarter. But I try to give myself a little time to kind of collect my thoughts without just going off of pure emotion. So I'll try to do that. So we'll start off with some positives. Obviously Alperen Şengün had a hell of a game. Once again, destroying Rudy Gobert, attacking him downhill over and over and over and over again, getting into the elbow region. I liked how they used him. It wasn't really isolating him on the corners, on the post-ups, which I hate because it's easy for the opposing team to help off of that, which ironically they almost try to go to the end of the game, which is just stupid, right? And but I'll get to that in a little bit, but let's stay positive. He was really getting downhill, using his body and his size against Rudy Gobert. That's how he should play every player of that archetype, whether it's Chet, Wemby, any of these 7-footers, skinny dudes, just barrel down their chest. Like, just go downhill, knock them back, force them to foul you, block your shot, or make a bucket. And if they're going to play you with single coverage, then you got to force them to do that. And if they're going to come with the help, just keep doing what you're doing, pass the ball. I thought he was really, really good. Late game free throw making, you live with that. I'm not too mad at that. I hope, you wish your center would be able to hit those free throws, and he's done a pretty good job in that. We should never been in that position. We should never have been in that position. By the time you start complaining about the free throws, you were like getting to that point, to me, was where we kind of fumbled the bag. But he had a great game. I think Jabari Smith looked good. I love how he's been playing over the past maybe 10 or 15 games, kind of carrying on, finding his niche in the offense, making those tough shots. I think that is something that's going to be a staple for him. Those turnarounds, working in that mid-range region, that is what he's going to be. And I would love to see the shot distribution be stripped from other players, including players in our backcourt, and be given to Jabari, right? Because I want to see Jabari explore his game a little bit more, because I feel like there's a level of efficiency that he could have working with his shot selection. A couple of kick-out threes, a couple drives to the rim off of closeouts, and a couple of those pull-up middies. I think that you get him more than whatever he's getting right now, maybe 10 shots, 11 shots a game. He's going to yield some good efficiency off of that. So he was good. Amen Thompson was great defensively. Everywhere, just a super player, man. His replacement with Dylan Brooks on the starting five has been really good for the Rockets, because he adds a special value that Dylan doesn't have. The weak side shot blocking is one, which helps with the defense, and also just a player that pushes the pace in transition. The knock on Amen is when he is not on ball in the closing minutes of a game, as we saw, where, we can just skip to the bad right now. Why is Tate and Amen Thompson on the court at the same time? Like, that should never be something that you do, especially against a team with the rangy defenders that Minnesota has. You want to be able to stretch it out. Alp's been cooking all game, and I tweeted this out. This is one of the first teams, or one of the only teams, them and a couple other teams, that have enough confidence in their big men and enough bodies at the center position, whether it's Randall playing the five, whether it's Gobert starting at the five, whether it's Naz Reid playing the five, that they want a single coverage your center. They did the same thing with Nikola Jokic on Denver. They played him they just like to throw multiple bodies at these kind of offensive hubs, because they're going to try to tire you out. But Alp has cooked all of them. But I knew it in the late game. What their coach is going to have in his back pocket is a double team, or a late double, or a trap, or something. So I was expecting that. I tweeted this out, like, just foreshadowing, like, okay, he's getting off one-on-one. I know there's going to be a time that comes when if you let a player play single coverage, or you're playing a player single coverage, the only adjustment to that is to trap him, right? Especially if it's a surprise trap. So I knew it was coming. You could tell from a mile away. I said this in the third quarter, right? So if I'm Ime Udoka, and we've gotten to the point where it's a 1-point game, brother, you got to call a timeout. The personnel was not personnelling, bro. That's not the personnel you want on the court to run your final play. You think about who's out there. Amen Thompson, not a great shooter, right? Ball handling, You feel me? Jayshawn Tate, not a great shooter. CTE prone at times, right? Fred VanVleet can't really get a paint touch, so it's not going to really give you a driving kick. At best, he'll get a shot off. It's probably going to be a contested 2 or 3. Alperen Sengun, a guy that you want to be involved in the action, regardless of what happens. And the only kind of player that makes sense out there is, Fred makes sense in a vacuum, but as far as trying to get a last-minute bucket with the other players, the only player that makes sense is Jabari. That's your outlet valve, right? You have one outlet valve, 2 non-spacers, and a guard that if you give him the ball and he's, a player that has length comes up on him, he's going to be forced to take a contested tough shot. And to me, I don't like that, right? I don't like that. This is where, one, you replace Amen or Tate with Dylan Brooks, and you replace, Amen or Tate with Jalen Green, right? Or one of those. Like at some way, shape, or form, you need to have a player that can do multiple things with the ball to close out the game, right? A guy that can at least get in the paint and get to the rim if needed. If not, at least, with Dylan, he can pull up a 2. He can get a little space with his strength, or he can hit a 3, right? All, not the greatest shooters in the world, but we know our guys can hit 3s. And the threat of those shooters at least opens up the isolation for Sengun. So I think that last sequence was a kind of a bad coaching deal there. You kind of gave the Timberwolves a way out. But even let's back up. I think the game was lost when we were up 10 or up 16, whatever it was. There was a stretch where we had our backcourt with Jalen and Fred take turns taking shots or trying to, I don't know, it was like Jalen would turn the ball over, Fred would take a 3, Jabari. This is one thing that we do on a night in, night out basis that really kind of makes me angry, like as a spectator of the Rockets. And this goes for multiple players. Whenever a player is hot, we have a terrible, terrible, terrible habit of not riding the hot hand. Like, we have a terrible habit of going away from what works. And I've seen this happen to Jalen when he's going. I've seen this happen to Dylan. I've seen this happen to Jabari. I've seen it happen to Sengun multiple times. And it happened again tonight. When you have a matchup, y'all have heard the analogy that I've given of James Harden when he gets trapped. He's okay with Clint Capella having 20 dunk attempts in a game. You have to be a robot. You have to be a robot. This is what the great facilitators in the game, LeBron, Harden, CP3, and I know that's a high standard, but that's where I'm going with. Like, you have to be a robot. What do I mean by that, Frank? What do you mean by that, Frank? What I mean by that is, if I know that Alperen Sengun has like a 60% field goal percentage against anybody, I want him to exhaust. In fact, I want that double team to come in the 4 minutes left in the game, not late. You're going to get the ball every single time. And once they start adjusting to it, I want you to kick it out so our guys can get 3s. I don't need Jalen Green taking up a possession trying to fill his game. 3 minutes left in the game. I don't need Fred VanVleet going CTE hero ball with 3-4 minutes left in the game. I don't need Jabari trying to see if he can attack with his new handles that late in the game. Brothers, you got to run the ball, man. Run the ball. That's what's gotten you here. Just keep running the ball, right, till the other team stops it. And I feel like that even matriculates up to our coach. Like, you have to have some structure in your team, especially in those closing moments, as we did in Minnesota when we won the game in overtime or double overtime, whatever it was. Guess what they did? They just ran the ball. Give the ball to Sengun and let him attack his mismatch till the cows come home. That is called shot selection discipline, and we lack that. And the most disappointing part of that, in my opinion, because I can't even blame Ime for that too much, right? Because we have Fred VanVleet on the court, who is a veteran, a champion, a very smart player, great player, culture setter, etc. But one of the glaring weaknesses in his game is his inability to have shot selection discipline in closing moments. Like, he just loses his mind. Like, brother, your job as the point guard is to make sure that whatever your best set is, that's what you're going to run. And you're going to run it every single damn time till the team stops it. And they didn't do that. They got carried away. They thought the game was over. They got lazy. They got, undisciplined and just ran whatever. Guys were just taking shots, throwing lazy passes. And by the time you look up, it's a 3-point game, a 5-point game, a 2-point game, and hits that 3 game, and we lose. Shot selection discipline, and it really comes down to your guards, bro. That is your job as a guard, to make sure. And Fred has to own up to it. I mean, I would give Jalen some the blame, but he damn sure wasn't even in the game to even get some of that because they took him out. But it's, it's not the end of the world. The Rockets have been playing excellent basketball since that loss against Oklahoma City. So not to take anything away from them, but these type of losses really hurt because you feel like when you look down the line later in the season that it's going to be something like, damn, I wish we had that one. But just a tough pill, man, a tough pill to swallow for this team. I really wish we could get this one because our schedule gets a little hairy coming up. Like, you got to take the wins that you got. But, I think, once again, learning moments for our team, learning moments for our young guys. But, yeah, man, Fred just got to be better. The team has to be better. Ime has to be better. I can't really say anything about Şengün. He had a great game. Honestly, he had a great game. Hit your free throws. That's the main thing I can say. But by the time you get to that point, you shouldn't be in that position. You shouldn't be in that position. Substitutions were pretty trash. There was a stretch in the second quarter where I think we were up and we had a lineup of Cam, Reed, Jabari, Şengün, and I forgot who it was. It was just a terrible lineup. Like, you don't put those lineups out there in meaningful games, right? You don't put certain lineups in meaningful games. That lineup damn near could have been the reason because by the time the starters came back in, I think we were down like 10. And Ime watched that lead go up to 10 before he made an adjustment and just didn't like that. That was the worst lineup in the game. And I'm using this app here that tells you the worst lineup. It was Şengün, Amen, Jabari, Cam, and Reed. That's a terrible. You never put that out there. I mean, Amen and Şengün are good together. Cam Whitmore, tunnel vision. Reed Shepherd, non-existent. Jabari Smith, very limited in what he could do. Amen Thompson, limited in the shooting. That's a tough ask for that group of players together. And Reed Shepherd, man, I'm still waiting for him to show a pulse of life or anything. I don't know whether his confidence is shot, but he's really not doing anything. The Timberwolves hunted him a lot in this game. I'm very process driven. His process is starting to be bad, right? Bad passes. Bad screen navigation on defense, young guy stuff. But hey, I'm gonna keep it a buck. If I'm gonna hold Cam Whitmore to that standard, even though Cam is a sophomore, if Reed is having bad process, then his butt needs to be on the Vipers. His butt needs to be on the Vipers. I think Cam had an okay game, not a great game. I think the New Orleans game was better. I think Cam, you can tell. And you guys, one thing I'm gonna say about me when it comes to Cam Whitmore, any player, I'm not really big on make or misses. Like, if you watch this channel, you already know that. I don't care if a guy has 50 points. To me, the process of how you got those points matter more than the actual outcome for that individual game, because the process is what's going to be there in the closing moments of a game against a good team, right? So you can have 50 against a bad team, and then it doesn't matter because you can't replicate a bad process against a team that forces you to have to beat them with a good process. So the reason that I'm not moved by like, oh, he had X amount of points, like Cam was okay in this game. I know everybody wants him to play more minutes. I do too. And I think he's going to get more minutes because he's deserved it. But tonight was not his best night. I think he started off shaky, the decision-making about when to pass the ball. You could tell. Here's what I want you guys to do for me. Just watch when a teammate passes the ball to Cam Whitmore. what he does in the flow of the offense. Does he swing it based on how the defense is covering him, or does he have to dribble 5 times to reset it? Anytime he dribbles 5 times, reset it, he kills the possession. That's a possession killer right there. You might as well turn the ball over, because what's going to happen is a late shot attempt by a teammate, or it's going to be some just hero ball shot, and we don't want that, right? That's not what you want. Once again, play your role, run in transition, play good defense. Hit your catch and shoot threes, and when you got a mismatch, attack it quick. Don't let the defense load it. But he's learning, but it just goes back and forth. Once again, good angel, bad angel. But I think he was okay today. Not the best game. But Reece Sheppard needs to see the G League, bro. I'm starting to think that he's going to be one of those guys that takes a couple of years before he matures into an actual NBA player that can really exhibit his talent that as we have drafted him to exhibit. Right now, he doesn't look like he belongs in the NBA. I'm just keeping it a whole bean with y'all, like for real. Like, he's getting hunted on defense. He's really not confident on offense, and you cannot blame anybody. I think he's gotten a lot of opportunities. He needs to be developed, and a lot of his issues is really stuff that comes with just getting in the gym and working out. Like, he's just undersized. His shot is really not having the same arc it did in college, because the three-point line is further out. He's having to shoot over better athletes. They're closing out on him. So he needs to get more core and leg strength, right, to push those shots, to be able to play defense, et cetera, et cetera. So I think he is still going to be a great basketball player. Physically, I don't think he's ready right now. I hope that he is able to get some reps in the G League so he can possibly have that post-All-Star game run that we see from some of our rookies. But tough loss, man. Tough loss. Not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. The Rockets have been on a tear, man. And it took a very chaotic CTE from everybody game for the Timberwolves to beat us. A heroic shot by Anthony Edwards to beat us. And we're one of those teams. We're a good team, guys. We are a good team. We beat up bad teams. We can beat most of the good teams in the league. And I wouldn't categorize Minnesota as a great team. They're a good team. And this is a team we should have defeated, right? But we are in the upper echelon of the NBA. That's all you could ask for. This team is way ahead of schedule if you keep everything relative to where we are. So still be excited. Just a tough pill to swallow. We just got to be better. Got to be better to close it out. Now, I'm curious to see how they translate this over from this night to the next game that they play. But, man, tough loss. Tough loss, man. It sucks being a Houston Rock. I swear, man. Something told me that don't get too happy about this game. But, it is what it is. Happy holidays to everybody. Appreciate y'all for tuning in and watching the video. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. Keep rocking with the Chop Shop. I'm going to keep dropping that fire.
DJ Candlestick. It's the Chop Not Slap Show.